represent the ideal situation, but the limitation is only for simple project, straightforward, non-complex project. So this is how the bar chart can be useful lah, ataupun can be done ataupun utilized dalam construction project. Okay, and for CPM is more on how the project is a complex project, have a package, different package, and then we can determine the critical line or the critical activities in that particular projects, and how we determine any delays or consequences to impact to another activities and so on, right? So on that part, we move to this week topic, still under project planning and management, which is we go to PERT, program evaluation review techniques. All right, we call it as a PERT. Any one of you can reflect back to CPM on this particular slide ni. Kalau you can see from 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 tu. So this is orang kata apa, the activity on arrow, right? So this is orang kata apa, activity on arrow. Why I said activity on arrow? We have tail and then we have kepala ni, right? Tail and head. So basically on this particular line, we have A, ataupun A stand for activity A lah. B, C, D, E and F. And then we have time scale for this particular activity. So, and then T is stand for time, right? 3 WK 3 weeks. Okay, for C 1 week, 3 weeks, 2 weeks and 4 weeks and 2 weeks, right? So if you can see from here, all the numbers here, they represent weeks, doesn't represent the actual size ataupun the actual length of the week lah, right? So dengan kata lain, when we draw CPM ataupun we draw the CPM ataupun network, so basically we don't count the week ataupun the time scale tu dalam our drawing lah, right? But what important part is the logical sequence of activity. Okay, so before I start or move to PERT, any question related to this topic, previous topic? Anyone? Tak ada, huh? Okay, so if tak ada, lah. Yes, saya.
I want to ask about the dummy line. How to know which line is dummy line? The dotted line.
Okay, dummy line is when the dotted line, right? The dummy line represent in the network is a dotted line. Okay, so dummy line only shown in activity on arrow, right? Activity on arrow. So activity on nodes ataupun precision diagram doesn't have dummy line. Okay, so why dummy? The question is the purpose of dummy line, right? The dummy line basically is to represent some activity, logical sequence to close the loop ataupun to close the whole network, right? So if you can see ataupun from the previous topic on the dummy line, we have for example the predecessor of activity. You know what I mean? Predecessor and successor. So predecessor means activity A, for example like this. Activity A doesn't have predecessor, right? So activity B also doesn't have predecessor. So means it start together from same point, right? So that's why A and B don't have any predecessor. Alright. So when a dummy line, maksudnya ialah is where the another, which is, for example D is activity, and then the predecessor of D is A, right? And then when it state, for example, in the list of activity and predecessor over there, maksudnya kalau you nampak the question ataupun the activity, the logical sequence ask you to list down all the logical sequence, and then you come across with one activity have two or more than one activity, more than one predecessor activity, right? For example like this, but this one is no dummy. But when you see this activity D, so the only predecessor is A, right? So what if the dummy activity for the dummy line for activity D mention activity B also has a predecessor for D, right? So maksudnya kalau you nampak kat sini ialah this is the sample with no dummy, right? Activity on arrow but no dummy. Why? Because you can see A and D A is a predecessor for D, and then C predecessornya adalah A, right? Let's say predecessor D ialah A and B. You can see A and B. So you cannot put together A and B in the same line, right? A and B same line. So that's why you have to put another dummy line over here, another dummy line to show B also is have a relationship with D, right? So this is the purpose of dummy, right? But kenapa you kata you tak boleh buat dua line? Because activity A and B cannot do in same time. Okay, that's why kata apa, before the predecessor for E ni adalah B, right? So this is how the dummy line occur lah dalam certain network diagram. Okay, but this is okay. Nanti dalam this particular PERT ada one of the sample show dummy line. Okay, alright, thank you Luatan. Any question? Another question? Okay, alright. Yeah.
Which way easier for us to draw the CPM? Is from the front or from back? Start.
Oh, okay. The front or back? So basically, you start with the front. So anything start with the left side lah, left hand side. So means kalau you buat ni, you example, we have a activity A, predecessor none, B predecessor none, and then you can see the D predecessor C. So you try to do backward, right? I know your punya concern macam tu kan. So basically, kalau untuk but if for calculation for the time scale on that particular network, so you have to do from left, which is what we call it as a forward pass, and then to loop back ataupun to close the network back, the calculation time scale tu from right to the left, so which is a backward pass. Itu yang tapi the draw basically is from left to the right. Once you done macam 10 up until 20, right? So now you want to calculate the time duration. So this is where what I'm saying just now, forward pass to do to calculate the time early start and early finish, and then from left to the right, which is the backward pass from late finish to the start finish, right? Okay. Alright, so in this particular PERT, the slide handout is already also available on e-learning. Alright, so you can open up or try to download and then see on your own lah for your revision. But for this purpose, just to have a look on my screen. So this is how I will explain on PERT lah. Okay, so PERT program evaluation review technique method. Alright, so basically you can see why PERT come in after CPM, right? So why? Because some come after CPM. So even perhaps you recall back, you said CPM is good, or basically is a very best for to applicable for the complex project, right? But why PERT come in? Even you said the CPM is already good. Okay, why? Because when some activities, right? When I said some activities in the construction, so they have what we call it realistically cannot be established. Okay, in terms of time, right? So in this particular sample, you mentioned here is earthwork. Okay, I mentioned here is earthwork. So why earthwork is very difficult to establish the data ataupun the duration of the activity for excavation on the earthwork. Why? Because there's so many factors. Number one is external works, right? So it involves an external environment, right? So it's exposed with weather, climate, different climate, hujan, banjir dan sebagainya, right? And even they have contribute by the soil factor ataupun the condition, the ground condition, right? So ada yang ground condition have a very low low water table, right? So kalau you korek je, air keluar, the groundwater come up from the bottom to top, right? So you have to stop construction, stop digging, and then you have to do extra work lah, such as dewatering, right? So you need a pump, and then after that kering, dry the soil condition, do the soil stabilization, right? And after that barulah you buat kerja-kerja concreting, such as parquet ataupun footing dan sebagainya, right? So basically when the planner, right, when the planner come across with this particular situation, so they have to think about the time condition yang very actual, is nearest to their estimate, the time estimate. So as a planner, orang kata apa, they will ask so many information around, and they shop around all the time duration, such as from the subcontractor, the machineries punya time calculation, the productivity of the machine dan sebagainya, the output of machine. So means dia punya contributionnya ialah, the impactnya ialah they got so many times ataupun so many data that different from orang kata apa, dia punya estimation, right? So this is how orang kata apa, the planner or orang kata apa, use the PERT analysis to assist them on to do a proper planning of time duration dalam project. Okay, so just a bit on how we assess the duration of each activity. If not mistaken, I put this in the pre-recording lecture on how to assess the duration. So number one, from past experience. Of course, kalau kata planner, kalau kata the contractor, they have their own experience. For example, kadang-kadang okay, untuk this particular project size 1 story, so for concreting, for piling, for footing, maybe it takes about 1.5 weeks, all right, to do concreting everything, right? After that, waiting for another step, so we have to wait another 1 week, okay, for example, like that, right? And then another basis for planner or for contractor to assess the duration of activity is based on the standard of performance. For example, the time for the concrete to cure. Okay, maksudnya curing of the concrete lah. Kita tak boleh buat concrete on the dalam column or slab, and immediately after that, a day after that, we open up and then do the next constructions floor, right? So dia akan jadi apa? Dia akan collapse lah, because the load is not mature enough. The concrete is not cast ataupun maturely. Maksudnya kalau kita tahu dalam the first in construction material, in the first year dulu, kita tahu dalam 28 days they achieve about 100% strength. Okay, so that's why we have to open up the concrete especially for horizontal structure on upper floor frame after 14 to 28 days, right? Before we move to the next level ataupun buat concrete yang lain, right? So this give the indication for the planner that untuk buat something tu, we know the logic, the sequence kerja dan sebagainya, but we have to understand the time scale to put for that particular activity, right? So how to assess the activity? So this is how the planner need to know, right? And then from calculation based upon the quantity of work, maksudnya dalam either the BQ or even the production rates, like I said, when they do a planner to do the time scale dalam network, they have to understand what type of machineries the company or the contractor use, how many laborers or how many gangs, okay, what type of assistant they have, for example, machineries, is it semi-skilled or skilled workers, or even they have automation on that particular activity and so on, right? And even they have a specialist subcontractor, historical product, or benchmarking against industry or company performance, something like that, right? So again, from bullet 1 up until the last bullet, so you can see how as a QS ataupun QS a contractor, QS a construction, so to know the exact time duration, right? So back to the basic again. We as a student lah, maksudnya I know you are QS student, right? So perhaps you ask me, why I need to know the time of activity of this particular project, right? Because when my concern is only doing a BQ, and then take off the quantity. After that, I do some interim payment, calculate what the performance or apa nama the contractors punya work valuation and so on. That's it, right? But you can see as a QS, even you notice when do you do a apa tender document or contract document, in the practice you apa dalam contract document you ask apa the contractor to produce a master program, right? The master program. So the justification of you ask the contractor to submit a master program in 3 copies, for example, like that. So you have to see the deliverable, the logical sequence, how the process of the construction activity looks like in the construction stage, at the construction stage. So you as a QS, on behalf to advise as an advisor to the client, you should understand in the first place on in term of apa nama the construction sequence, the time, that's orang kata apa, is a logical enough, is a sound and reliable in term of how the contractor do that particular job. So they cannot rush the time project activity dan sebagainya. So kalau misalnya kalau rush nanti kan that's why lah ada problem in term of the curing time not mature enough dan sebagainya, right? And back to that basic again, when you do a tender document, you invite the tenderer. So apa nama dalam tenderer tu you tengok dalam satu time duration yang diletakkan oleh client mention how many days or how many weeks that particular project should be completed, expected date for the completion, right? So means what? Contractor doesn't apa nama contractor yang beli tender tu ataupun the tenderer tu basically not dictate any time frame. Normally kalau projek yang besar-besar sebagainya dia ada letak dah the time frame for that particular project. So QS letak 18 bulan, 20 bulan. So how do you know the 18 month, 20 month is the time for everybody to complete? Memanglah you expect klien kata nak project is 24 month ataupun 2 years because you see the previous project, the same school from for example from Seremban, from Johor Bahru, and then you want to do another school dekat contohnya dekat Skudai. So basically you kata okay, so the last 2 school 24 months, so I put 24 months. But if you consider other factor such as the time frame yang tu contribute by the different type of contractors, the different the price that be different, that's kata apa incur the contractor will lower down their numbers of workers, for example, like that lah. Okay, so this is how orang kata apa as a QS, bila you put the tender document tu you letak time, so you are the first person yang letakkan time duration tersebut, not a contractor. So contractor to comply and then to do a backward, maksudnya daripada 24 bulan macam mana I can manage to complete this particular project in 24 months, right? So back to the question, kalau project tu delay, LED dan sebagainya, who the first fault? You are partly, basically QS is partly contribute for that particular situation juga, because even you kata 24 month, but are you sure the 24 month yang is the logical or sound enough untuk deliver that particular project? So this is very hard, and then is apply the duration ni, the key point here is duration is part of the client's objective, apart from the budget, ceiling price, okay, the quality, this is spelled out in the drawing dan juga dalam specification of works dan sebagainya. But in term of time, QS and contractor and even client have to sit down together and then understand this is time that I expected, and then contractor come in, okay, if I can I can complete this particular project, but in different types ataupun in the process untuk methodology yang different, which is the method statement look like different dan sebagainya. Just a bit of analogy lah, contohnya macam if you guys come across during the MCO, duduk kat rumah sebagainya, like I said dulu, your parent maybe ada buat project renovation work sebagainya. Your parent will shop around to the contractor, to the Facebook dan sebagainya to see to get the quotation, right? To get quotation from the contractor lah, yang ada iklan-iklan kan sebagainya kan. So 2 or 3 contractor come in and then to see your brief, your parents brief kat mana nak buat dan sebagainya, and then of course the contractor will estimate, number one, estimate the cost and then give the time duration, right? So if let's say you change a bit the process, let's say your parent want that particular project to be ready or complete before end of this year, right? So which is we have 1 month je kan, 1 month plus je. So you kata okay, this is particular project besar ni, ada scope dia very big, okay, you have to extend 2 story, dapatkan extension, room extension dan sebagainya, ada roboh demolition dan sebagainya, alright. So and then when you ask the contractor, I want to this particular project 1.5 in 1 month time. Okay, 1 month time. So half month tu basically is a contingency lah. Okay, 1 month's time. So dalam 1 month's time tu basically what you expect, the price will be up. Why? Because the contractor will say okay, in 1 month, in the duration for 1 month, so basically I need to add on the numbers of workers, okay, I need to order or I need to ask the subcontractor, the specialist, or I need to kata apa, to add up work, macam kata add up workers, or to kata apa, to get the material outside, or do some different way of approach. For example, in term of wet construction ataupun do kerja-kerja yang concreting, basah dan sebagainya. So I suggest you, if you want to cepat, so I ask you to do a steel structure, for example. So the price will be high, alright. So this is how kata apa, the relationship between the time, cost and quality, right? Okay, so back to this. When we talk about PERT, PERT basically orang kata apa, one of the point that kata apa, extension from the CPM, right? Why CPM, why PERT come in? Because PERT want to mitigate the issues of the issues of uncertainty dalam estimation of duration, right? So when you talk about uncertainty, duration dan sebagainya, we immediately come across with the topic that we learned previously on probability, right? The probability under under operational research and technique, right? So we have kata apa, probability, decision tree, linear programming, which is to see the optimization things dan sebagainya. So this is orang kata apa, the same branch of mathematics. Okay, so statistician in PERT have simple come up with a simple determination lah untuk uncertainty dalam quantitative term. So how they come up with this particular solution? So you can see from here, PERT use 3 point of estimate, 3 point activity estimate. Apa 3 point tu? Maksudnya 3 point of time ataupun 3 time of estimate. Let's say kalau you can see from the first page yang saya tunjuk dalam my slide, you can see from note A, B, C, D, E, F dan sebagainya tadi. So they have a T is equal to 3 weeks, T, the next activity T is equal to 2 weeks. So this is only one single time. Okay, one single time ataupun single time estimation, right? In PERT, they come up with 3 time of ataupun 3 point of activity estimating. Okay, why so? Why? Because as orang kata apa, the mathematician atau statistician ni come out with the 3 point tu, yang estimate tu is cover this particular particular range, which is number 1 is optimistic time, most likely time and pessimistic time. Okay, so kalau kita baca kat sini CPM estimate have most likely duration of 10 days. Maksudnya they use a single deterministic time estimate, right? But on PERT, when I said about optimistic time, pessimistic time, most likely, so means they have a range of duration, possible range of duration. Means that particular activity can be completed mostly ataupun paling average is in 10 days. Okay, but what if kalau misal kata that particular project ada problem, for example for earthwork tu ada soil condition dan sebagainya, it take about maybe 18 days, right? So from 10 to 18, so you can see have a range, different time, right? And then what if you can finish the particular project in very shortest time? So contractor kata, okay, normally 10 days, but I can complete in maybe 7 days. So means you have a 3-time estimate. 7, so which is what we call it as a optimistic time. 10, which is the most likely time. 18 basically is apa, most pessimistic, ataupun the pessimistic means what if the particular activity face a worst case scenario, right? So 7, 10 and 18, right? So dalam CPM dia tak consider benda-benda ni, we not consider probable uncertainty, right? So when we have this particular PERT, which is ada three time estimate, so where we call it as a TM, T time, M most likely, A ni optimistic, B ni pessimistic, right? So this is the explanation on the time that I can say. So all this TM, TA, TB ada 3. So at the end we want one single time. So bila kita ada 3 time ni yang kita estimate the planner ni come across with 3 different time yang from the data yang they gathered. So means they got 3, means optimistic, pessimistic, most likely. So during dia punya network, dalam dia punya drawing the network and then calculate the time scale network tu, they need to understand, they need to apa, to extract the time expected, maksudnya TE, expected time from all these 3. So how to get this TE? So basically they come up with this formula, equation. Alright, so TE ni adalah expected mean duration of activity, right? So remember, this is orang kata apa, the equation number 1, which is kalau you can see TE is a TA. A stand for what? Optimistic, right? Maksudnya kalau kerja aktiviti tu boleh siap awal, this is the numbers. Kalau TM ni ialah yang siap yang most likely lah. So you times 4 and then TB is the pessimistic TB, and then you divide by 6. So dalam case ni, equation ni, I don't want you to memorize. Saya tak nak you remember, even kalau ada dalam exam ke, dalam question paper ke. So we put the formula or equation for you, but I need you to understand the justification why this number come from, right? So you can see TA for TM, TB divide by 6, right? So you can see from here, this bell curve, we call it as a frequency distribution. This is the bell curve where kalau kita kata apa, kalau kita ambil satu sampel, sampel dia kalau kita ambil test dia punya mean ataupun dia punya average numbers dia akan macam ni tengah-tengah ni. Ini yang mathematician come across with the experiment so many times, so that's why akan dapat macam ni. And then you can see this is the mean, yang tengah-tengah adalah mean, average. Okay, for this frequency distribution you can see how many numbers of zone ataupun we call it as a standard deviation on each particular zone ni. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nampak tak? This is what we call it under this bell curve. We have 6 compartment ataupun zone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? So when you mention about 4 TM, maksudnya 4 TM apa? Most likely. Most likely means what? Dekat tengah-tengah kan, remember? So when I said most likely, this is refer to mean, right? So we have 4 basically. 1, 2 kanan, 2 kiri. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This area we call it as a 4 TM, right? So and then this one another 1, 2. So this can be is a TA and TB. Alright, so which is kalau A ni adalah, kalau let's say this is kata apa 10 days. Tadi kan 10 days ataupun 10 weeks. Yang tadi tu 7 days, boleh siap cepat 7. Yang ni boleh siap 18 hari. Okay, so we have 7, 10 and 18, right? So 7 ni basically is the likelihood of 7 days ni dalam bell curve. We understand this is orang kata apa, the small amount dia punya possibility dia, right? So that's why kata they represent by one single zone ataupun 1 TA. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 TM, which is kalau kita 10 ni, katakan 10 kan, that might be 9, 8 dan sebagainya, 9, 8 hari. Kalau 10 ni, this one is 18, likelihood dia ialah 10, 12, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so 18. So 18 ni, the TB ni ialah the worst case tu, the possibility-nya mungkin 1/6 je, right, yang berlaku dekat sini. So that's why the formula here represent like this, right? So you divide by 6, so you can see 1, 4, 1. So maksudnya 6 divide by 6 is equal to 1, right? So 1 maksudnya is certain lah, the time estimation is certain, mesti ada 1 je, right? So this is how the formula derived, okay, for TE. Okay, and then for number 2, and then you can see the standard deviation. We call it as a standard deviation, sigma, right? So where it's come from? So you can see the sigma ada satu form ni, 2 sigma, 3 sigma, 4 sigma, 1 to 2, 0 to 1. So basically this zone is represent 1 sigma, right? So 1 sigma kat sini dia kata 68%, 95%. This is what mathematician tell us lah, right? And then kalau you nampak dekat sini lagi, sigma is equal to TB, which is the worst case time, and then divide by the shortest time, divide by T, tolak TA, and then divide by 6. So you want dapat yang paling jarak yang paling jauh lah. Okay, so this is how you understand the equation first, alright? And then after this, we moving forward to see the process of when we apply this particular PERT dalam calculation of project duration. Okay, so the rest yang 3, number 4, number 5 ni, this is terbitan ataupun come from this particular tool lah. For example, kalau you nampak equation number 3, you put the kuasa 2, the power, and then you can see you put the kuasa 2, you put pun dapat kuasa 2, nampak, put in the bracket, right? And then this particular equation is sama dengan V. V basically is a variance. Variance is berapa? Sigma kuasa 2 lah. Alright, so this is sama juga when you want sigma back, so you divide ataupun punca power root of V. So you got this particular number back. Okay, right. So how can PERT help us at project level? So like I said, you understand the PERT punya equation, and then what to do next. So means PERT ni, remember just now, PERT give you 3 time estimate. At the end, lepas 3 time estimate, they give you equation. Once you got the equation, you got TE, time expected from one time ataupun one activity tadi. Okay, one activity, you got three point of estimation. You put the you calculate all the 3 tu dalam equation, you got TE, okay, ataupun single estimate based from the different point tadi, right? So dalam PERT ni pula, what's next? How you can use in the project level? So you have to identify the critical path. Okay, remember critical path dalam CPM sama kan proses dia? You calculate forward, backward, then you can found the float is 0, so means you know the critical line, right? So in the critical line tu, what does it mean? Apa tell us the critical line? The critical line ni maksudnya ialah that particular project cannot exceed the time that you plan. Kalau you exceed the time you plan, dia akan burst the network in term of, maksudnya kalau you boleh complete that particular project in 32 days, you extendkan sikit dalam critical line tadi tu 3 hari. So 32 tu dah takkan dapat 32 days. So you have to crash the network again and then do calculation dan sebagainya, right? So that's what tell us lah on the critical path line. Okay, so critical path line tu kalau you remember dalam last week punya class, so derive from float yang 0, number 1, kemudian dia come from the different type of activity, interconnected logical sequence of activities, right? So ada 3-4 activity lah yang dalam tu. So means dalam 3-4 activity tu, that's why we know each activity tu ada 3 point estimate. We put the estimation dalam equation, we got TE. So dalam TE tersebut, we calculate the variance. So dapatlah kata apa, sigma ni ataupun standard deviation, right? Okay, now move to the next one. So this is kata apa, the same way what ni. Okay, so this is the tutorial. Okay, tutorial in class tutorial that I guide you up until to the end lah, to how to calculate ataupun how to get to make the PERT ni useful to us, ataupun apa the benefit of PERT dalam calculate the estimation. Alright, now we look at this number 1. Okay, so start with the simple calculation of the network. So T basically is the most probable duration. What does it mean probable? It means it's a one single estimate. Okay, T 2 weeks, T 2 dengan 3 4 weeks, T 2 2 minggu, 3 dan sebagainya. Alright. So now when we move to second slide, you can see from here we put the 3 possible duration along the network. Okay, so now again, kalau you nampak kat sini, can you determine apa nama critical path line yet? Ada tak? Tanya you. Okay, try to do some drawing. Okay, can you see? Okay, boleh dengar saya? Okay, so you can see this is only one single estimation, which is what we call it most probable duration. So dalam CPM ni this what we call it as a CPM punya teknik lah, network so activity on arrow lah, we call it activity on arrow. So dalam this particular part, you can see ada satu je single estimation kat sini, satu je what we call it as a most probable duration. Okay, tapi dalam PERT we have to come out with 3 point estimate dalam each activity ni. So ni ada satu, you have to create another 2 lagi. Okay, so, which is this is M, we want to find TA and TB, right? So that's why the next slide ni you can see we put 3 possible duration, which is TA, TM and TB. So 1, 2 and 3. So kalau 2 ni you nampak tak kat sini, kalau 4 kat tengah, 3 di sini, 3 di sini, 4 kat sini, right? So once you complete this, so you can see you got a sequence yang menaik lah nombor ni, 1 2 3 2 4 6 2 3 4. So what's this tell us? It means this is the shortest time, this is the longest time, which is the longest because of when goes worse, maksudnya the pessimistic time. Okay, boleh follow so far? Okay, again, kalau you nampak kat sini, can you determine the critical line yet? No, right? Why? Because we not done the forward pass and backward pass yet. Okay, maksudnya kita dah letak time scale dekat sini. This is what we call it, it's a time scale, but we not count the duration yet. Duration tak ada lagi, right? So what's next? So compute the TE. Remember tadi, when we have a 1 2 3 2 4 6, we have a multiple point, which is multiple time duration. So we put the equation, which is this is the equation of TE, a single time. So 1 2 3 ni we want only one single time, but the single time tu now become TE, right? So just put the numbers tu dalam this equation. So 1 2 3, for example at T1 to 2 ada 1 2 3 1 2 3. Okay, so 1 2 3, so you put the numbers. So 1 plus 4 times 2 8 plus 2 plus 3, so you dapat 12 divided by 6, you got 2, right? So once done, you calculate the V pula. You can calculate the V or you can calculate the sigma, doesn't matter, right? Nanti kenapa doesn't matter, because at the end kalau you nak dapat sigma, you just power root balik. So you put the V ni, TB minus TA tolak 2 kuasa 2 divided by 6, so you got 0.1. So repeat back all this activity, right? So you got this lah, complete table like this. So based on this equation ni dapat, right? So far clear? Boleh? Right. So once you got all activity 1 2 2 3 2 4 6, all activity lah, maksudnya all connected line tu, So you need to calculate critical path. Remember, PERT ni useful if ataupun CPM dengan PERT sama. You have to understand the critical path, the duration, right? The duration. So draw the network diagram, okay, and then calculate the critical path. How to calculate? Use the forward backward path untuk dapat float. Float equal to 0. Let's translate into critical path, right? So now kita dapat critical path line. Why? Because kalau kita nampak kat sini, when you calculate like this, saya buat ni dah become TE, 0, start with 0, macam siapa tanya tadi tu, how to draw, so we draw from left, and then how to calculate the duration, we calculate from left, and then after that finish right to left, right? So we call it as a forward pass and backward pass. So 0 plus 2, basically 0 plus 2, 0 plus 2, kita tambah jadi 2, right? 2 plus 4, we got 6, right? So kat sini tambah. So 6 plus 3, 6 plus 3, we got 9. 9 plus 3, 12. But remember, ada yang dua line, so we have to wait before we move this forward. So once we done like this, so nampak 0 plus 2, 2. So 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. Nampak tak? We have 9 and 8, but in CPM punya rule, we on forward pass, we take the bigger number, right? So we choose 9. So 9 over here lah. So 9 plus 3, 12. So once done, we do a backward pass. 12 divided minus 3, so which is minus, is 9. So 9 minus 3, 6. So 9 minus 4 is 5. 6 minus 4, 2. Okay, 2. But now 5 minus 2 is 3. So we have 2 and 3, but in backward pass, we use a smaller number. So between 2 and 3, we use 2. So 2 minus 2, backward pass, 0. So we complete that one. So now we can see the early start, early finish, late start and late finish. Nampak sebelah-sebelah kan, 0, 0, 2, 2, 6, 6 dan sebagainya. So now we calculate the float. So float is 0. So 6 minus 6, 0. 9 minus 6, tolak 3, 0. So basically we got the critical path line. So which is 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 5, 5 and 6. Right? So the duration ialah 12. Now you can see the expected duration is 12. Remember, the expected duration ni come from where? Come from the numbers yang ada 3 different point tadi. Okay, and then we got TE. After that, we calculate the critical, draw the network, and then we calculate the critical path, and then we understand all these 3 yang estimation ni, we got the estimation of 12. Right? 12 weeks lah to complete. Okay, now point number 6, don't worry kalau you nampak kenapa saya pangkah besar-besar ni, because this is the most mistake happen lah. Sebab kalau you can see the different, you can compare this one. This one is variant, you plus another variant, But now you see this is the total of variance. So you add all the variant ni, and then baru you punca. This is the right way, right? So for example, variant 0.11. Basically, kenapa saya kata calculate ni? Because want to calculate the entire network, but along critical path activity only. Okay, only. Okay, so kenapa yang non-critical tu tak ambil? Sebab it's not contribute to the critical path activity lah. Sebabnya non-critical tu kalau dia ada float, means dia boleh 1 hari 2 hari lewat, tak apa. Dia tak akan menjejaskan the whole project duration. But critical path, you take that particular route atau line tu because you tak nak masa tu, this is kata apa, the expected. Dah masuklah masa yang paling lambat, masa paling slow tu. So you dah calculate, become a TE. So TE tu you dah calculate dekat entire network yang critical path, yang dah kira lah, yang dah calculate, right? So that's why you only take a critical line only, right? So the critical line kat sini yang saya dah put in the box shape ni, right? So 1 to 2, 2, 3, 3, 5 and 5, 6. Okay, so you add all together 0.11, 0.44, 0.1, because this is already V, so you just add the V lah. Okay, so you got 0.88. Okay, so when you have a 0.88, what this tell us? Okay, so in this particular bell shape, again saya kata tadi, we have nak apa understand 1, 2, 3, 4 ni adalah 4 yang most likely, yang 2 ni adalah yang pessimistic dan optimistic dan juga pessimistic time, right? So dalam this particular sigma ni, you can see sigma or standard deviation ni is equal to zone, each zone ni 1, 2, 3, 4 ni, right? So 0.88 means ialah you add from this particular 12 week. 12 week datang mana? 12 week ni adalah expected time duration, which is what we call it as a TE. The whole expected duration adalah 12 week. Dekat mana ni? Ini ialah refer kepada the mean ataupun titik tengah. Alright. So 12 weeks means you tambah 0.88, you dapat 12.88. Okay. Kat sini. So 13.76, 14.64. So kenapa dapat macam ni? 12.88 plus 12.88 you plus 0.88 dapat 13.76. 13.76 you plus another 0.88, so dapat 14.64. So what this tell us? Yang ini tambah, yang ini kalau move to the left is tolak. 12 tolak 0.88, you got 11.22. Tolak lagi 0.8, you got 10.24. Tolak lagi 9.36, dapat macam ni. Right? So means what? Kemungkinan projek boleh siap adalah 12 minggu, right? But this only give the 50-50 chances, right? But means kalau you give the more time ataupun based on the whole duration activity tadi tu, you can say 15 weeks is the expected ataupun to be certain that particular project can be complete on time. Okay, so 15 basically is 99.7%. So means from this bell curve ni, ujung ni 99.7%. The assurity of that particular project can be complete in 15 days ataupun less than 15 days, 14.64. Okay, this particular project also can be complete 9.36, but the chances are very slim. Why? Because kita tahu tadi dekat kawasan sini very slim, very optimistic time. Kalau projek ni boleh siap macam mana pun 9 days tu you dengan cuaca baik, tak hujan, pekerja sehat, so mesin tak rosak dan sebagainya. So this is 9.36 or even like a 9 days, right? So the project duration can be expected from 9, 12 and 15, right? So this is, you can see, this is 50% probability that project can be complete in 12 weeks, and then it's a 19.75% ataupun 100% the project can be complete in 15 weeks. Okay, so this is what this tells us lah, right? Okay, so ni ialah summarize on give you just now. So duration is normally distributed lah. Maksudnya kita want to put a 3-time estimate tadi, we calculate the TE, and then after that we plot critical path. Critical path tu kita still buat lagi dalam distribution, normal distribution. So we got the time to be normally distributed time. Okay, next topic ataupun next subtopic ialah we use this particular bell curve lagi kan. So there are some question related to this. For example, I want to know this particular bell curve tadi ni, yang kita tahu this is the 50%, 0.5%. This is yang ujung ke ujung 99.7%. Tapi kita tanya, boleh tak ini 12 minggu? Boleh tak kalau kita siap dalam 14 ataupun 13 minggu? What are the chances? What are the chances? So basically the chances ni maksudnya translate of what? Translate of kita nak tahu berapa dia punya probability di bawah curve, di bawah graph ataupun bawah curve lah, right? So and then when I said the probability means we should understand the keyword there is a probability. So the probability ialah measured 0 to 1. Okay, 0 to 1. 1 stand for certain. Okay, certain. Certain ni siap lah. 0 means dah kata tak berlaku, right? So means kalau nampak tak dia punya formula ataupun dia punya percentage over here, if you translate the percentage 99.7 divide by 100, you got 0.99. So almost certain can be completed. Kalau you can see 0.5 maksudnya ialah 50%, mean 0.5% can be so-so lah, maksudnya titik tengah, can be completed, can be non-completed, right? Okay, so that's why we need to find the area using a table. Okay, this is another equation that we can use on this. So find the z-score. Z-score ni ialah value kat sini. Okay, so maksudnya kita 12 minggu tadi kan, yang ini ada tadi 14.64, so this is orang kata apa, 9.36 something. So what I don't want to Z, I know this is 14, but how about this Z tengah-tengah ni? Kalau misalnya contractor kata I expect you to complete before 15 days, before 15 weeks. Okay, let's say I want to complete in 14 weeks. Okay, so you as a QS, you calculate, our planner, you calculate 14 weeks tu what are the chances yang you boleh siapkan that particular project. So this is why these rumors come, the equation come in. So X is a variable, which is what we call it, we want to find the 14 weeks tu. Mean, we have a mean, we know the mean, we know the standard deviation. So Z we can calculate from the table. Okay, so the table is here. Okay, so this is the table. For example, Z kalau kita nampak 1.25. Okay, 1.25. So 1 to 2, so 1.25. So how to read this? So 1.2, you can see from here, 0.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you add, so means you add 0.05, you got 0.225. So 3.944. Nampak tak? 0.3944. Okay, this is how to read. Okay, how to use it? Okay, let's move to tutorial. So in this tutorial, you can see the data that we can use sama yang tadi, tapi I just maintain ataupun ubah dia punya mean. Okay, remember tadi the mean yang 1.67 is wrong kalau kita guna yang equation yang V tambah V dan sebagainya, right? So when we talk total of V, we got 0.88. So this is should be 0.88 kat sini. Okay, so dalam handout you tukarkan 0.88 kat sini. Alright, so but to have orang kata apa, the easier ataupun not make you confuse kat mana nak tengok, calculate balik dan sebagainya, so I just use a 1.67 kat sini, right? So 14 minus 2, 12 come from where? TX ialah 14, TE, E stand for what? The estimation of time duration complete tadi, 12 weeks. So 12 weeks divide by 1.67, the sample here lah. Kalau the right calculation is 0.88. So you can padam ni 0.88, so you calculate dapat berapa nombor kat sini, right? So I don't want to padam sebab I nak tengok refer to my table Z score ni directly. Okay, so 2 minus 1.62 divide by 1.67, maksudnya 14 tolak 12 2, so divide by 1.67, so you got 1.97. So 1.197 means you refer back to this one, 1.197. So 9, 7 dah tak ada. So this is the maximum number you can get. So 1.197. So you got 0.3830. Okay, 0.383. Okay, so this is the figure from table Z score. Right. So since we know this is 14 more than 12, maksudnya 14 ni more than 12, so basically dalam table score Z tadi tu, ni 12 kat sini, 14 akan somewhere is belah kanan, betul tak? Yeah, so somewhere here, so means we use add equation, tambah. So we know yang tengah-tengah ni ialah 0.5, we plus 0.383, so we got 0.883. Okay, nampak tak? This is 0.5, and then from here to here, equation dia ataupun kita tahu probability ialah 0 hingga 1, right? So tengah-tengah 12 ni ialah 0.5. Okay, so and then 14 weeks ni ialah area bawah table, area under table, which is Z score. Okay, so bawah ni, so we have kata apa, from the table 0.383, so 0.83 we plus 0.5. Okay, so that's why we got 0.83. So near 1 kan, nearest, dekat dengan 1 kan, so means what? there's a chances of happening, which is 88% that particular project can be completed, right, in 14 weeks. Okay, boleh follow? Okay, and then next one, what if the particular project complete in 10 weeks? So mean kalau kita draw just now, 12 is here, we equal to 0.5, so 14 belah kanan, so we add tambah, and then here tolak because of 10 weeks. So the chances here adalah 10 weeks lah. Maksudnya, sorry, so 10 weeks somewhere here, Tx over here, right? So Tx minus Te, still we use this equation, x minus mean divided by sigma ataupun standard deviation. So nampak tak, I still maintain the number even negative because I know 10 divided by 12 because I just use x ni even the lower than mean, so 10 minus 12 negative 2, right? So divide by sigma ataupun 0.88 lah kalau kita nak follow the example tutorial 1, right? For tutorial 2 just use 1.67, so minus 2 divided by 1.67, so you got the still same number tapi negative in front. Okay, similar number dengan yang tadi kan, 1.197, so I just put the score 0.383. So sama tak 0.83? Sama kan? Right. So but dalam table score, because this is the left side, so we use tolak. Maksudnya kata the position of the right positive value z, left is negative value z from the central line. Okay, so this is important. So maksudnya kalau 10 weeks, how to calculate this one? So you dapat the probability is 0.11. Kalau you translate in 100, 11.7% chances that particular project can be completed. Nampak tak? Daripada 12 weeks, tak sampai pun seminggu, the chances ni turun, jatuh 11% only. Right? So that's why 1 minggu, 2 minggu memainkan peranan yang besar. Kalau you have to understand this particular part dalam particular project, let's make the big decision, right? So that's why kalau you project dalam buat satu estimation time dan sebagainya, when you calculate the expected duration, so you cannot simply take from the past projects, last project, so you have to see the uniqueness of the project tu. What is the characteristic? Contohnya ground condition, contohnya kalau expect the contribution from the many angles or many factors. So that's why you have to put a probability, pessimistic time, then you get optimistic time, and then you calculate along the way. You got the numbers, and then after that you still normalize the number, the time duration tu dalam bentuk bell curve ataupun frequency distribution, and then you can see the value of time duration tu akan berubah-ubah sekiranya if you put even the 1 week ahead or even 1 week later dan sebagainya, right? So that's determine the successful completion rate of the contractor, right? So please remember, kalau you buat project tu lambat siap, sometimes it's not because of the mistake ataupun the sole factor dia come from the contractor alone. Why? Because the time given to the Mr. Contractor or Mrs. Contractor is not enough, right? So this is the thing that you should remember in the future. Maksudnya kalau you project, so you have to understand it's not the contractor fault. Okay, it's partly you have to think on how to give the contractor or client assurance on terms of how you advise the client. This is the time taken or given to the contractor is good enough for the contractor to deliver the particular project. Okay. Alright, so sama juga, this is the different number, just tutorial point 3, 17 weeks, just use the number and then you calculate, because the 17 more than 12, more than mean, so you 17 minus 12, 5 divided by 1.67 ataupun 0.8 lah to be accurate kalau you continue yang before this, so you dapat 2.994, so you tengok balik dekat Z-score, you dapat 0.4986. Okay, just to see 2.994 kat sini, how to read 2.994. 2.99, say 2.99 lah, 2.99, so 0.986, okay, 0.4986, right? So because of the the right frame of the bell curve tadi, so you put the +1, a plus, so you 0.5 plus 0.5986, you got 0.99, which is near 1, so which is certain that particular project is can be completed on time atau can be completed in 17 weeks duration. Nampak tak? So this is the beauty of PERT lah. Okay, so the limitation of PERT, okay, still we have some limitation in term of what? Limitation in term of it's difficult for planner lah to estimate, because in every single project, dalam satu project yang besar untuk buat rumah, so how many numbers of activity yang banyak kan, angkat apa, brick wall component, apa, roof structure, so there's so many component ataupun activity, right? And then lots of activity itu sometimes is not solely main contractor yang buat. Dia akan ada subcon that particular project to different subcontractor, outsource that particular task, activity and so on. Okay, so main contohnya macam piling, so piling contractor lah buat. Kalau macam plasterer, also I have point subcontractor for plasterer. So for the planner yang kerja dekat QS ni, QS yang kerja dekat ataupun planner yang kerja on behalf of the contractor, so they have to gain all the numbers ataupun the time estimation, 3-point estimate tu from different parties tu lah yang involved. But as we know, the planner ni bekerja awal sebelum all the party to come in, right? So means the planner should have extra knowledge lah in term of how that particular project can be executed based macam mana. So for example, you tengok planner nak tengok apa? Dia tengok, okay, this is concrete work, okay, reinforced concrete. Kalau nampak kat drawing tu reinforced concrete, so tengok balik reinforced concrete, betul ke reinforced concrete, bukan precast, alright? So means when we see the specification is related with reinforced concrete, mean vibrated reinforced concrete means it's a wet construction. So apa sequence kerja wet construction tu, berapa hari yang standard untuk curing dan sebagainya, so planner have to know. So planner have to understand the technical knowledge background and so on, not about just pick up number, letak 3 nombor, dulu 1 sekarang 3 number. Okay, it's not like that. Okay, so as estimated, expected duration sometimes involve bias on error, right? So why? Because sometimes contractor bila tanya, dia akan give the masa yang panjang. Normally dia akan give masa yang panjang je. Why? Because dia takut sebut yang pendek-pendek, because yang pendek ni dia tak boleh nak leeway ataupun tak boleh nak move around kalau masa tu very tight for him or for her to deliver that particular project. So bila bagi masa panjang yang lama tu, maksudnya all at the pessimistic time. So bila you move to pessimistic time, so maksudnya you punya PERT diagram tu akan jadi apa? Akan jadi extra lah time tu. Instead of 17 minggu, mungkin 20 minggu boleh siap yang 100%. Sebenarnya boleh siap 17 minggu je. Itu pun kalau yang based on TE duration yang 9 minggu boleh siap kan? Faham kan? So means itu yang akan involve error dan bias, right? Dan juga under PERT juga we consider the critical path in computing project completion date lah. So does not consider near critical path. Yang non-critical memang non-critical, but near critical maksudnya sikit lagi, floatnya less than 1, contohnya 1 day, 1 sebagainya kan. So it's a near critical, but sometimes PERT ni memang tak ambil itu, because ada project yang critical pathnya 2, sebab because of the project tu phase by phase, serentak sekali, so dia ada 2 critical path line dan sebagainya, right? Okay, so in this particular revision, I ask you to do home exercise, okay, on this particular slide, okay. Question on PERT, Chevron gas corp, okay. So maksudnya dia come up with how to build a pump station. So dalam this particular home exercise ni, saya buat separuh je. Nanti yang separuh lagi tu you have to do it on your own, right? So question number one, they give you a project duration, TE. TE tu dia ada bagilah probable time. dan juga standard deviation. Calculate on that thing. So list activity dia bagi dah. Ada yang preceding activities, ada yang A. This is what I told you previously lah. So ada activities yang have, you can see this is activity A, B, C, D, F, G, H, K. This is preceding activity. Previous activity apa? Sebelum A apa? None. Before B apa? A dan sebagainya. So you have to draw lah on your own. Draw the network. Okay, so try to draw the network and then compare the answer or the solution of this tutorial with your attempt, right? And then they give you 3-point estimate, so which is a M, and B. Remember, just to recall, M is a most likely time, B is a pessimistic when things goes worse. So this is the worst case scenario lah happen. This is the longest time duration. Okay, 16. This is orang kata apa, 4 ni lah yang earlier possible. Okay. So calculate from the drawing. So you extend 1, 2, 3 box daripada 1, 2, 3. So you extend another 1, 2, 3 box. Okay, column lah. TE, SD, variant. So you can see from here the difference previously ialah saya ada variant saja, but now I put the SD together. Okay, but it's easier. Kalau you nak variant, you kuasa 2 kan SD ni, standard deviation, right? So you got the number 2 times 2 is 4, right? So when you have this, you calculate all this, you have to determine what? Critical line. So how to do critical line? So you have to draw the network, you have to calculate the float, so you know the critical line lah. Okay. So this is the path ni, right? Okay, so you can see the dummy over here, right? So the dummy ni basically kalau you tekan 4 kat sini ialah how about if the dummy not occur here? So kalau you kata F ni akan stop over here. So F ialah activity, for example, you can see inspect equipment, right? But the completion of the project basically have to until complete the accounting data, right? Complete the accounting data. So that's why you have to link the network, the activity F tu dengan the rest of the activity to streamline ataupun to complete the loop lah, right? Itu dia punya tugas dummy tadi. Okay, so you can see dummy juga tak ada time scale. Okay, so that's why time scale tak ada, right? Alright, so in term of determine the early start, early finish, late start, late finish, so you have to calculate the forward pass, backward pass. So you can see after that you got the numbers of sama ada yang sebelah E, S, E, F sebagainya. There's an easy shortcut. You can see mana number yang sebelah sama. So basically is mean giving if the indicator that particular project, the particular activity is have a total float 0. Okay, so means indicate critical path line lah. Okay, so you can see A, C, D, G, E, J, K. Right, so this is the critical line. So based on the calculate forward pass and calculate forward backward pass. Okay, yang merah ni backward, forward, yang biru ni backward. Alright. So once you calculate, so I give you the answer for critical path line. Okay, so A, C, D, G, I, J, K. And then the numbers here basically you know already 72.82. So this is 72.02. So you add the critical line of project duration. So you dapat 72.82 lah. Okay. So once you complete this, so you dah tahulah calculate expected duration, standard path. Okay, so you calculate dapat nombor yang merah ni adalah nombor yang critical activities. Okay, so you total up the critical activities, so dapat 6.23. So you calculate, you add on all the variant tadi 38.8. Okay, so you can see standard deviation, total variant. So you add, you dapat 6.23 standard deviation. Nampak tak standard deviation? So standard deviation 6.23. Before this kita nampak kita buat ni je kan. Now saya buat ni, so straight away I know the standard deviation numbers. Okay, the total for this particular project. Okay, so they ask you, the question asks you the probability of completing the work 70 minggu, 75 minggu, 80 minggu. So the equation that we use adalah TX lah, the Z area under Z score table, right? So you use this Z-score table, formula or equation, then you dapat, because 70 kita tahu tadi the project TE-nya adalah 72.82, so this is lesser than 70, so that become negative ataupun because 70 tolak 70 negative, right? So you see, you taken the table Z score, you got 0.736, because negative you have to minus 50% tadi, 0.5. So if the particular mean, what does it mean? I'll tell you. In 70 weeks, the chances for this particular project to be completed is only 32%, ataupun 33%. Okay. What if 75 weeks, and then what if the particular project completed in 80 weeks? So solve this, right? And then orang kata apa? Give your answer lah as a take-home exercise. Okay. Any question? Any question on this? So we complete the PERT program. Okay, we complete the PERT punya topic today. So you notice the calculation of PERT, bezanya ada 3-point estimate, and then we still calculate using the critical path duration. We determine the duration, and then kita nak tahu the Z score on the table, Z area score tadi. Okay, so untuk dapat apa? Untuk ditentukan, we determine the time duration, the chances or probability of that particular project can be completed or not. Okay, to advise, basically is to advise the client lah, ataupun to advise the subcontractor lah. Kalau subcontractor, main contractor kata, okay, I bid this particular project for 40 weeks, for example. So I sub this particular activity ni, contohnya macam ni lah, contractor dia tengok balik dia punya work program, untuk kerja-kerja piling dia bagi tahu kat klien work program dia dalam masa 2 bulan siap. Okay, dengan ada 400 point pile, 2 bulan siap. So they will ask, the contractor kata, main con kata, okay, I will ask the subcontractor, especially subcontractor on piling untuk buat. So perhaps not one, maybe 2 or 3. So they will ask berapa yang boleh complete dalam masa 2 months, before 2 months. Of course lah kan, takkan dia nak bagi 3 bulan, because dia akan impact to the whole master program. So means master program, main contractor can use this PERT untuk analyse the subcontractor for piling work atau activity yang dia sub or outsource tu, untuk tengok the chances of probability that particular project can be done according the time given to them lah. Okay, so this is orang kata apa, the analysis can be carry out. Okay, so in term, that's why saya kata as a QS boleh advise client in term of kata apa, the surety ataupun the confidence level of the duration yang put in the document tender. Kalau untuk main contractor, they will assess or evaluate the numbers or the duration yang given by the subcontractor to bid the particular project, to deliver their activities. So this is orang kata apa, the usefulness of PERT dalam analyze this particular network diagram. Okay, so kalau tak ada apa-apa, I'll end this session earlier. So and then you can use the time the time left for to do your home tutorial like this. Okay, home tutorial.